as far as wearing the pants and being the man that the rest of the world needs us, I have two book reviews for y'all. So I encourage all men to read the book Kingdom Man by Tony Evans. Go check that out. And also there's an audio book. Um, he Who Finds a Wife. His name is Stefan. I can't pronounce his last name. It starts with an L. It's Stefan, and he has a weird last name that starts with an L. But check those two books out. Those will definitely get you on the right path as far as our responsibility on this earth as not just even a black man, but just as a man in general. So I mean, we all have principles and foundations that we live off of, and I think the ones discussed in those books are great ones to live off of.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's your boy Dion checking in. Welcome you to the buffet. One thing about it, two things for sure. You're going to get good conversation and good motivation. Let's eat.
The main thing, as it attributes to mental health, I think we just we need to find something to, some type of outlet. It's not enough for us to continue to go through situations and go through problems and keep those lying dormant within us, because that's going to end up, being, I don't want to say ultimate demise, but it's not going to help us grow. And anything that's not helping us grow, we kind of need to get rid of. Just men and taking their place in the household, and that's something that we need to stress.
All the ladies going on. All right, y'all. So
we some wholesome brothers over there, man.
Exactly, wholesome. Keyword wholesome, not wholesome.
Black men don't cheat.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Black men do not cheat. Wholesome, not wholesome. But anywho, I feel like, and I'll go ahead and preheat the oven on this topic because I've been wanting to talk about this one for a minute. As far as the black community and dedication to the families, like, let's face it, we know a lot of people, and some of us may even come from a one-parent household, and we've heard the saying for a while now, it takes a village, to raise a child. It takes a village. I feel like the biggest difference between when we were successful from the past and now is because we were so dedicated to the family. It's hard to save the world when within your own household, you need to be safe, or within your own household is chaos. But yet you're out here trying to save this person and that person, that person. Well, how? Where's your focus? So I feel like once we devote the time and give that dedication that we're supposed to the families as a whole, as a collective, you will see more successful African American, not just males, but just African Americans in general come up. If you look at the statistics, what between males and females are killing it as far as getting degrees and things like that. They're getting degrees at a very rapid rate right now. And so, but you can also say, well, guess what? Are they being targeted the same way that black males are?
Not at all.
Let's think about it.
Not at all.
They
I ain't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So it's like this, man. Like in corporate America, one may see a black woman and not feel as intimidated. They're intimidated by their attitude. Yes, it may like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing about it because I don't want to deal with that attitude. They may say that, but as far as who's more intimidating, a black male? We probably gonna lose so many followers as I say this. What's more intimidating, an intelligent A1 black male or an intelligent A1 black female in the work environment? This is just me assuming how corporate America thinks. Which one would I rather go up against? And so, and the reason why I say that is because I don't know if y'all seen the documentary on Netflix, 13th. There's a reason why the prisons are heavily populated with people that look like us, because they're targeting us.
Mm-hmm.
If it was the other way around, if they felt more threatened and intimidated by the women, they would be targeting them. So that's why I make the
power.
And that is why I make the statement. I feel like they're more intimidated by the black male versus the black female. I'm not discrediting women at all. I love black women and I respect them to the utmost, but there's a reason why they try to wipe us out, and because this is biblical. In order to destroy something, you got to take out the head. And in the Bible, a man just has certain duties that we're supposed to fulfill, not to go past the reverend, not to get all reverend franchise on y'all. But there's just certain obligations that we have to fulfill that a woman isn't supposed to or should not in when things are clicking on all cylinders. So I feel like as Black men, we have to get back to doing those duties as a whole. What it means to provide, to protect, to support, to be there, and not just provide assets, not just provide the basic food, clothing, and shelter, but I mean, like, no kidding, be that model for the younger generation, be that prototypical role model. And I feel like that's what's been lacking for a while. That's the biggest difference between our generation and previous generations who've been successful. You see fewer and fewer and fewer role models. Like our parents growing up, they could be like, oh yeah, I could just go to the local YMCA and there's this man named so-and-so who'll be helping them out and so-and-so passing out ice cream, doing whatever. You see that less and less and less in this day and age. So I feel like once as a whole, we get back to dedicating our time, dedicating the proper attention to our families, then you will just see everything else just come full circle. Once we take care of our own, if everybody had the same mindset, let me take care of my own, then you won't even have to, there'd be fewer and fewer to mentor outside the home, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I think so. Great introduction, Mike, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Let me start off by saying that real quick.
You hit a couple different points right there, man.
Yeah, you kind of did, Mike. I think everybody was crying because they were soaking it in right now.
Franchise.
So let me say this, because everything he said is right. But so we just got finished talking about this in our last topic, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like Black men get torn down so much, we don't have the ability or we're not given the slack to be able to it's I got a certain passion about this, fellas, like, because I don't know.
We see it.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for a brother. It's really tough for a brother to, like, you know what I'm saying? And you see it on Facebook all the time. You know what I'm saying? Black men, who do you vent to? Nobody. We can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro. Man,
Take a couple breaths. So
the junk is whack, bro. So when it comes down to it, I mean, we can only do what we're given the ability to do. You know what I'm saying? We have so much power to, like, mentor, fix our home, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But, like, when that power or that ability is, low-key stripped away from you, you know what I'm saying? What can you do with it? Without the power, you can't do anything with that, man. And, it sucks to say, in my opinion, like, a majority of us don't have that ability. We can't do it. Not because we can't, we don't have the ability to do it, but because if we do it, you know what I'm saying, someone's gonna come down on us. Somebody's gonna go to jail. You're gonna lose your job. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna lose your wife. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna lose your child for trying to discipline your child. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not for us right now, in my opinion. Society has made it so that Black men can't express themselves. They can't do what they need to do.
So on that, I got a couple different points I want to make. I'm a preface this by talking about, how I came up in the area I came up in. We start talking about feelings in Black men. We're trained to be hard, man. We're trained to not show your emotions, don't cry, and all this different type of stuff. And that puts you pretty much like as a leper in a certain sense, because you don't really, you don't have anybody to vent through. So you start, building up all these emotions, all these feelings and everything like that. And they start having attitude problems and everything like that. They want to label you. But me specifically, my latter years, man, it's just, I've been so key on just finding my peace and not letting a situation or an individual or one conversation get me outside of my peace or my comfort zone or anything like that. So I think we have to find our center, find our peace, and be able to, in those situations, just be able to, find our peace, find our calmness and everything like that. Understand what is all against us and what we can and what we cannot do. But at the same time, we still need to be able to control ourselves, control our emotions a lot better. Situations happen that we can't dictate, But at the same time, we still need to learn how to control our emotions that much better because, yeah, I mean, if a woman she might go off and, you know, she might have a little bit more rights and a little bit more privilege, a little bit more leeway than we do. But at the same time, we can't control that. We can control what we can control, and that is our action, our emotions, and our situation, you know. Not to discredit what you said, because I mean, I definitely completely agree with you. I definitely completely agree with what you're saying, but I think we have to look more on ourselves and not place the blame on ourselves, but look inward before we start looking outward and just kind of just control how we react to certain situations. And I think that'll put us in that much better position more often than it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what you were saying, Dion. I mean, it's just society. Period it's really telling us to shut up at this point because it's all about, you know, when a man shares how he really feels. I'm sorry, Mike. Was that too personal?
Keep going, bro. You're cooking right now, bro. I ain't stopping. Keep
but
shuffling.
when society is telling us to shut up about our emotion, and when we express our emotion, they see it as it's weak for a man to do this. Is not really cool or anything. But as we have saw over time, if we're not letting those emotions out, what Dion was saying, all that stuff is gonna bottle up, and we're gonna break, and it's gonna eventually break, and it's not gonna be a calm type break. And we have to let those emotions out, because if we don't, you know, and we kind of lose authority. We lose all those type of things because we're just seen as that angry black man, you know. And to piggyback off of what Marcus was saying, you know, women have that opportunity to let go a little bit because, you know, they are more important to the company. Like black women are more important to the company because they're killing two birds with one stone. They're black, which is reaching the minority part of what they need, and then they're a woman, which is reaching another point. But you know, they have a little bit more outlet than we do. And if we ever was to let go in a meeting or something like that, that is the end of it.
Let's get him out. Let's go and get him out of here.
You're not coming back to a meeting. You're not going to speak on behalf of my company because you can't control yourself. And that's why, for me, man, I have learned, because I had some anger issues, and I went to therapy about it and everything else. A whole lot of things that was happening in my past that, you know, causes me to have anger issues. So I go to therapy and we talk those out because, you know, I tell y'all all, I've been on my grown man-ish, and I've been trying to change. I'm coming out this pandemic a different person. That's has been my goal, and I want to make sure that with every new level, you get a different Zay, a better Zay.
Man, oh man. Hey, after that, I will go ahead and say, to piggyback off what Zay said, the black woman is not just corporate America's jewel, it is the world's jewel. I can't think of another woman that gets cherished. Now, they may not do it appropriately, but they get cherished in every culture's special way more than any other breed of woman. Like the other races outside of the African American community, they're considered exotic. They're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've had this kind of woman, this kind of woman. Man, have you ever had a black woman? Like they're put on a different pedestal. So I will say they're not only corporate America's gem, they are the world's gem.
It's a very special type of woman, man. You know, ain't no other like them. You know what I mean? It's definitely no other like them. So I think in the woman's pursuit of equality, the men has lost. So in their pursuit of equality, they've actually gained on us. So we're not equal. You know what I'm saying? Like they went for equality and ended up, the brothers actually, you know, took a step back. So their equality search actually made it so that the brothers kind of fell a little bit. Definitely is no other woman like a black woman. Can't even imagine myself, you know what I'm saying, stepping outside. You know, what's the saying? Dreams die in comfort zones. Well, I'm not leaving out of my comfort zone when it comes down to black women. I am not stepping over that boundary. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Right.
look at how much of an influence they are. We scared to tip. We're like tiptoeing around this thing because we don't want to offend nobody. You know what I'm saying?
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your Black women appreciation conversation for the day. But
Hey, I think
we
Nick
got
got something
mad
to say.
sidetracked. We got
I think Nick
all
got
right.
something to say.
All right, look,
Yeah.
Dominique. All right, so look,
Go on to the
we're gonna
next topic.
no. Black women appreciation moment. Dominique, what you got to say? we'll go ahead and shift gears for a
Go
second.
ahead. We go to the topic.
Hey, keep it a buck, Nick. I want to hear what you got to say. Like,
I do too. That's the main reason why I'm letting them rock. 'Cause it's
I
like, yo,
kind of do too. I kind
I'm
of do
a-
too.
I'm
I feel like you
gonna-
got something else on. Coming.
anytime Dominique speaks, I always come out with a different perspective on stuff.
Oh man, you putting pressure on me. Like
Sorry, my bad, G.
I just feel like
modern day Gandhi.
I feel like you said it as they came up. Men took a step back. I mean, you can't be. If you're a man of action, you're a man of your word. People gonna respect your stance. Period. You know what I'm saying? You always control your situation. You know. So if a woman starts screaming and hollering, and you start yelling at her back, then that makes y'all the same thing. Like they looking at you to be, was my opinion. They looking at you to be more stable. You can't react. You're right. You can't react the same way they do, or they're not gonna call you a girl. They can call you something else. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like if you a man of action and you're a man of your word, you always gonna get that respect, whether it's in the workspace or in a relationship or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, granted, they've came up, man. I just think a lot of men just ain't stepping to the plate, myself included. You know?
Exactly, bro. Exactly, bro. And I want to piggyback on that when you finish,
Like,
dog.
straight up, like it's just like, yo, if you, people know, even dudes know a respectable man, point blank, period. You're gonna respect that person. You know what I'm saying? That's you know what I'm saying? If you carry yourself in that manner, man, that's just it, bro. So all right, put it this way, right? So you say you work with all females. Why?
So when you ask this question, what type of answer are you trying to get from me? Like,
I'm saying it's more. You got to look at it like, well, why aren't there more men in your workspace? You see what I'm saying? A lot of dudes probably ain't stepping up to the. You see what I'm saying? So
now you know you and me go go back and forth a couple of times about certain things. So I have the exact answer for why I work with a bunch of females, women. Excuse me, not females, because I actually read a post somewhere that they get offended when you call them females. So women. The reason why I work with a bunch of women is because my boss handpicked her gang, her crew. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of men in my position that I could have been working with a whole bunch of men. However, my boss, a woman, said, "Ooh, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one, and I want him." So that's why.
Okay.
So you were chosen.
Yeah, right.
Not at all. Marcus is the chosen.
What's the ratio in general? What's the ratio to women to men at your job?
Nah, so it's definitely a higher ratio, and on top of that, it's a higher ratio of women in my position than men at my job.
That's all I'm saying.
So nah, you're right, 1,000% on that. 1,000% right on that.
Like,
I just
I'm
kind of want
any man, bro. You know that when you on your A game, bro, you'll be respected.
Mm-hmm.
I just truly, I mean, there's always gonna be a case where somebody doesn't respect, but I'm saying in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I don't think anybody should be, I don't know if this is the right word, like intimidated or even concerned by their come. If anything, I'm looking at them as companions, bro.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying?
Fact.
Like, those are models for you if you have daughters. You know what I'm saying? It's just the men just got to step. Black men got to, man, myself included, bro, just got to step it up, bro. Period. You know what I'm saying? If they get more degrees, you got to question that. Now, granted, it's more of them than us, so that's a skewed statistic, and they will always use statistics to make it feel like it's a threat. You know what I'm saying? There's more women than men. They're supposed to be getting more degrees. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they put that on you to make it, oh, they're coming for us. Bro, I disagree. You know what I'm saying? I think some of it is good. You know what I mean? It just make you step your A game up, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
Women get money out here, so they looking for you to do the same. Like me, myself, everybody looking for us to do the same. They ain't going for what they went for 20 years ago with just an old car with some rims on it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they want them $400-500 hair installments instead of look. They, you know what I'm saying? The price done went up.
Yeah, nails are $100.
That's it. The price done went up. So it's like, yo, either we gonna step to the plate, which a lot of that's not happening, or. And I'm not saying just financially, just like I said, man, I just believe if you honor your word, you carry yourself respectfully, and realize that as a man, you are in control. Because I'm one of them people that believe only God is above me, bro. That's it. You know what I mean? That's no knock on nothing, but that's it. I only got to answer to him.
So back to the main point in regards to what you're saying. You know, we may be coming out of some of these people may be coming out of a broken home, for lack of better words. And when you come out of that broken home, where potentially a man that did not step up, or maybe he did and it just didn't work out, whatever you want to say, whatever the scenario may be, sometimes you get raised on maybe a bad concept of what a man is, or for us, a bad concept of what a mother is. So what you got now, Neek, to not necessarily to combat what you're saying, but to kind of just, I don't know, maybe throw a little wrench in there, right? So I feel personally, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, not trying to be cocky or conceited,
brother.
But I feel like I'm a very well-respected person. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? And that's not just to say that finances should be the only reason why I deserve respect or whatnot. But when you come from a broken home, whether you have a bad concept of a man, bad concept of a woman, you know, you then let that concept that you have kind of rule over how you view everybody else. And then what do we say? You know, she carrying baggage or whatever, or he carrying baggage or whatnot, and that messes with that home, that with the respect that we should be getting, that we kind of are demanding because we're doing what we need to do for those of us who do it. But since they got that old concept, or he has that old concept of what a woman or a man is, it messes it all up.
So Dion trying to get up in there, man.
Yeah, let me add something to that real quick, because I know we start, as it relates back to the original point, we talk about the household and everything like that. And I know Marcus, you kind of alluded to it a little bit. You know, you kind of grow up with sometimes people grow up with a skewed idea of what a mother or what a father or what that presence should be in the home. So I'm gonna pose a question, because what if, we talk about men in our household and taking our place? What if we're doing what we're supposed to do? What if we are the man that we're supposed to be, but because that woman hasn't had that much, interaction with her father, or had bad situations in the past, can't accept you as a man, or can't treat you as the king that you're supposed to be treated as, and that kind of, hinders your ability to act and take your place in the household, even though you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. I know I'm speaking from experience, because I've been in a situation like that, to where, relationship I was in, she didn't necessarily have a father around, and her mother stepped up, and she was a very, strong individual, taking care of her business, taking care of her responsibilities and everything like that. And I think my ex at the time, she saw that individuality, but then just didn't know how to treat me coming in, didn't know how to show me that I was appreciated, didn't know how to, let me be a man and do the things that a man wants to do. I want to be able to take out the trash. I want to take care of all of this. I want to do what I'm supposed to do as a man, not because that's what I'm supposed to do, but because those are things that men want to do. You know what I mean? Like a real man would want to do. But so oftentimes, and even on our side, we don't know how to treat a woman most of the time, So, in that situation, like how do you do that? You know what I mean? And I think that's something that needs to be attacked. That's something that needs to be talked about, and that's something that needs to be fixed in the home if we start talking about home life, because you can't have a woman that is not accepting of a real man in the household and let him take his place. Because if I don't feel like a king, how can I possibly treat you as a queen? And the same thing, if I'm not treating her as a queen, I can't expect her to support me and be my queen.
Yeah,
I
but
want
a lot of
Nate.
people.
No,
Go ahead.
you about to
Go
go
ahead.
in.
Go ahead.
I
Go
saw it coming. I was like, I want Nate to comment on this because out of all of us here, he's the only one that's actually started that journey. He's the only one that's out of everybody in the buffet, he's the only one that's married. So I want that tour guide perspective versus the travel agent. Like, bro, he made it to the NBA. Here we are on the outside looking in, still at tryouts. You know, so being that he got drafted, yeah, Nate's married.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
Man, Nate, every episode, Nate's breaking a new milestone. You never seen a black teller? Guess what? Here comes Nate.
Wait, what? You never seen a black what?
Black man telling.
When he was going in talking about the black business and Eminem banking, when they was like, man, I usually don't see black male tellers. And like, well, guess what? There's one on the line. We sitting here talking about what a family man should do, and guess what? None of us even have taken that step. So, being that Nate has, I'd want to hear his views and perspectives on it before the rest of us go in, being the vultures that we are on the outside looking in.
Oh, sure.
All right, cool. So, and it's great timing too, man, because I had to get up because, of course, I got to check on my queen because I've been on go get food mandate right now. So that's exactly what I'm about to do after I speak. But basically, it's crazy, man. I've been soaking everything in that everybody's just saying, and it's for one because I got to go like way back. For starters. I got to say that you got to consider women, but especially the black woman, from the sake of, two songs. You got Respect by Aretha Franklin, and then you got Independent Women or Women by, Destiny's Child. So by just both of those alone, they have surpassed us. Sad enough to say, unfortunate enough to say, but not just because, I don't want to say not because they haven't worked toward it, but because men, black men especially, have come from the sake of we out there, we got to do what we got to do in order to make things work, in order to make things happen. Unfortunately, some of those instances, some of those times, it might not necessarily be legal. It might not necessarily be moral, things of that nature. So that's why we become that statistic, getting locked up, to then become that next statistic of not being there for our kids and this, that, and third, all that stuff, not being able to be that family man. But then also coming from a marital standpoint of now a year for myself, it's amazing looking back at the dating aspect and now being married because everybody kind of sort of wants that, oh, well, yeah, I'm holding it down for mine and everything, outlook on things. But we never in a relationship try to come together and have, come together on grips with things as far as like, let's see what we can take care of together. It's almost always just, yours and mine, or it's like, what I can take care of, what you can take care of, what I can keep from so-and-so, what they don't need to know, so that then when it gets into, the marital standpoint of being together or the togetherness, it's still that separation is in place. So it kind of starts in relationships, but at the same time, I forgot who it was that was talking because I had to, like I said, take care of some business, but we got to be taught these things, especially as black men from early on, to be able to then grow up into it and to develop what's necessary, even within the household as a family man, taking care of our responsibilities and things of that nature. But we also got to do better as black men. Not to say that we're not doing what we need to do at all, but I mean, like it was said before, we speak up. Finally, because all of this that's been kept inside and, anger, just emotion, maybe some resentment along the line. When we finally speak up, it's like, oh, that guy is angry. Like, he's a problem. He then becomes a problem. And I don't know, man, sometimes it's just as unfortunate as just our image. you know, who we are, our image just is existing to the point of our image of like, you know, how others perceive us. And, you know, of course, you know, perception is reality. So just simply being who we are, the 6 men on the phone, who we simply are, that perception, unfortunately enough, just like, you know, for the woman, her perception before was like, you know, oh, you're underneath the man, so why should I need to listen to you? So now her point of like, well, I kind of am the man because there ain't no man in the picture. And as a matter of fact, there doesn't need to be a man in the picture because I can take care of my own, whether that's financially, mentally, emotionally. And oh, by the way, I really don't need a man in the picture. I can go get another woman. But that's a topic for a totally different conversation. But
It's
yeah, man,
called
you just
Brunch
gotta
Sundays.
yeah, man, you just got, you know, all that stuff that you know, got to weigh out and just consider, man. Things aren't terrible, but especially from a black man's perspective and men altogether, just to constantly do better. We can't talk about wanting to wear the pants and we don't, you know, fulfill the responsibility of wearing the pants.
Yeah, you said that, man.
Hey, Jose, what you gonna say earlier?
Yeah, you know, that's a hard act to follow, but I'm gonna say, man, like I have learned that every woman is different and they have their own different way of being loved. You know, you cannot love every woman the same way because they don't translate that. Every one of them is different, and that was one thing I had to learn is that, you know, to have that conversation of how do you want to be loved, what makes you happy, or, you know, what things that men have done in the past that has made you happy. You know, those are the type of things that you have to have a conversation with that woman, because if you don't, you'll be leaning to your own understanding and going off of something that she ain't really digging. Like, you know, maybe she don't like you to open the doors for her. You know, some women don't. They don't like you to open doors for them because, you know, that's how they were taught. And, you know, but you have to just have that conversation about, you know, how can I make us better? What would make you happy and everything else from that point. And you know, the man in the family is slowly disappearing. You know, just take a look at, you know, I'll say this, like LeBron James. LeBron James made a school and everything else, but they still talking about his comparison to Jordan. Jordan did not open up a school or anything, you know, but they spent maybe one day talking about that, and you ain't heard nothing else about that school. And that's why, and it's because, you know, media, society does not want us to be seen in a positive form, because if we are seen in a positive form, that makes us a little bit more confident in doing other things that may influence our family, our hometown, and everything else, because you never know, that little one scene could influence a whole lot of people. But like I said, man, they always diminish on the good things that we do. And, you know, you never, and even on the talk shows, you know, when have you seen Stephen Curry come up on a talk show and talk about how the good things that he did do for his family and everything else? And because like one time they was letting the kids get involved in the NBA when they did the press conference, you know, Riley and the CP3 kids and everything else. But then they stopped. I'm like, why did you stop that? That shows him being a dad and he's doing his career, you know. But that's how we just. I agree with a whole lot of y'all that said we just got to step up, take care of our responsibility. Get down with the girl, be able to go ahead and take care of those responsibilities that come with it. You can't ask for rain, can't deal with the mud. So you got to be able to just deal with all the things, regardless of how you feel about it.
My bad, John. I'm taking care of my kids right now. Since we talking about families and stuff, you know, over here trying to tend to my kids, my children.
Yeah.
But see, that's a prime example. You should show that, Mike. You taking care of your kids.
All right, bet. Well, since you asked for it, all right. So here's
Yeah, that might inspire me to take care of my kid over here.
You know that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we need more men stepping up and showing us that, you know, it's cool to be a dad. You know, we can't always look the future. You know what I'm saying? And we can look at Russell Wilson, but he is taking care of business, and he's doing a great job at it. You know, and outside looking in, I'll say that outside looking in, he looked like he's pretty legit on what he's doing. But if you're not being a dad and trying to take care of your kids and be in your kids' life, then you should be ashamed of yourself and do better. Don't concentrate on what happened in the past. Tomorrow is always a new day. And you could just start from there, building moments and memories with your child.
For sure. And I think another point that everybody's pretty much on the same page as far as saying things like you have to be you have to fulfill those obligations of a man. You know, you can't sit here and say I'm a king and not, you know, fulfill the requirements of one. You can't sit here and I heard somebody say earlier, people want to wear the pants but not do the obligations that come with that. I think the biggest thing across the board is people need to have that person in their life that they can emulate. You know, let's face it, who taught you how to date? Who taught you how to court a woman? Nobody. You either learned it through trial and error, and guess what? When you trial and errored it, all you did was mimic the behavior of said man in your life. So I think the biggest thing is, and which is why I say, if every man just took care of the home, it would be less to take care of outside of it. Because when your son sees that, he's gonna go off and court and do things like that, and his friends are going to see that, they're going to mimic him. So, you know, it's not necessarily just us doing our part for just our kids. It's for the people that our kids are going to influence as well. It's lateral and vertical. For sure. So I mean, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest takeaway. And somebody alluded to I think it was Marcus. Somebody alluded to who do we go to when we want to blow off steam, and who do we vent to? Nobody. I think, we talked to barbells and Gold's Gym, but on a serious, I was being serious.
Yeah.
I think we have to change the narrative, because let's face it, when we came up as students at that lunch table, it was pretty much a roasting session. Like, we teach each other how to have thick skin, but what we don't do is a good job of like, hey, bro. Now, I'm not going to say necessarily us on this podcast, because I feel like I've had a heart-to-heart with everybody on this phone at some point in time. Even Nate. I talked to Nate almost every Sunday about the topic of marriage and things like that, because that's what I aspire to get to. Marcus and Dominique, my roommates from college, they stopped me from doing a lot of reckless stuff. We've had those heart-to-hearts. Zay and Dion, after we crossed together, we've had those heart-to-hearts about relationships and just man stuff. And then even with Will coming into the fold after we crossed and we met at that convention, at our first convention, you know, he's taught me he's taught me how to go about trademarking the buffet and things like that. At some point in life, I've talked to you all about something that's near and dear to my heart. And so I don't think that's happening across the board, like at a young age. Like, we're too busy making each other tough and trying to man each other up. But guess what? None of us are men. If it was accepted throughout the culture to, hey man, you can come to me and voice your opinion. Hey, you can tell me how you feel. Because if we can't vent to each other, once again, going back to that Bible verse, you know, iron sharpens iron. If we can't go to each other and have those kinds of conversations, then who do we go to? Like Marcus asked, who can we go to? Because our women are looking at us like, hey, you're the leader. If you can't even be strong enough to lead me, if you can't even get it together by yourself, then how can you lead me? You know, it's too many people that depend on us for us to crumble. You know, we the last thing we can do is we just can't fail. Period. Point blank. Period. We cannot fail. So I think it's important that the narrative gets spread. Like, look, find somebody, have that inner circle. Like, I consider the buffet my inner circle. Find your inner circle. Find those group of mature individuals that you can bounce ideas off of. Because if you hold it in, it's just going to get released at the wrong time. So I just think that narrative needs to, that paradigm shift needs to happen where we can go to one another as brothers and say, hey, I love you. I need you to hear me out on this. Or, hey, I need you. I really need your help. How do I need to go about this situation? And you can't talk like that with everybody because, one, they might not take you serious, and two, they may mess around and tell you something that's going to land you in jail. So I don't know where that starts. I don't.
I think as a youth man, as a young black man, we don't know how to articulate our feelings. We don't know how to articulate our emotions. I know as a kid, man, you know, when I used to go through a lot of different things, I kept stuff in. One, I did not have too many people to talk to because obviously you're bred to be strong and all of that. But at the same time, I didn't know how to articulate those feelings. I didn't know how to articulate my emotions. I didn't know how to, you know, convey exactly what I felt. So I think you're right. It does start in the household. I mean, I think it does start with us as well, but we have to give back to our young men and let them know it is okay. You just talk, just get it out, just have some type of release. Like I said, man, even as adults, a lot of us don't know how to articulate our feelings and our emotions. And Jay, I can applaud you for going to therapy. I can applaud you for, you know, reaching out and speaking to somebody, because even if you don't have anything in your past that you need to talk about, in order to get to another level, you need to see somebody from outside of you needs to be able to break you down and show you what you're doing, you know, because you can't see the forest from the trees. I see what I'm doing each and every day, but it's an area that I want to reach another level, but, you know, I feel like I continue doing the same thing. So tell me what it is that I'm doing that is incorrect. Tell me what you see in my life that I can change. But I think we need to be able to empower our youth and give them the ability to speak on the things that they're going through or that they're feeling, because like I said, I just didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to tell you that I'm going through this. I didn't know how to tell you I'm hurting. I didn't know how to tell you that this hurt me without me being looked at in a certain light, you know? So we do need to create that environment, especially for our young black men. We do need to create that environment to where it's okay to, you know, shed a tear too if you got something going on. It's okay to talk about your emotions, your feelings and all that stuff. But at the same time, while you crying, get that shit out your chest, out your system now, but tomorrow you face your fears, you face what it is you got going on. You don't continue crying about it. You know what I mean? It's crying, it's cool to cry, it's cool to vent, but once you're done, you got to get up and do something about it. So I think that's, you know, that's what needs to be preached to our young black men.
Before anybody goes in, I hope everybody heard what he said. This man just said, you can't see the forest from the trees, and that's real. A quote I say all the time myself is, you know, is the views from the sideline are different from what's on the court or what's on the field. So those sayings, man. Dion got the quotable for the night.
Yeah,
you can't see the
good.
Hey, you can't see the forest from the trees, man. Who else wants to piggyback off of that, or just go in on, you know, mental health in the for the black males in the black community?
I had to just do a self-evaluation and see what my problem was. And then when I found out what my problem was, it just attacked the problem at its root. You know, you can't spell health without heal. You got to be able to heal in places that you thought that you didn't even realize that you had. But man,
drop it on
that other quote.
Drop it, boy.
But you got to heal those wounds that need to be healed in order for you to get to where you want to be, man. Because a lot of those frustration, anger, held back emotions come from your past that you haven't healed from, and that's why I love the song. You got to let go and let God. You know, talk about those emotions, get it all out, and then just like Dion saying, once you let go, you gotta be able to go ahead and fix your own problem and then move on. You can't just be sitting there dwelling in negativity, like, oh man, you know, I did this in my past, I did this in my past. But okay, what you doing about your future? You're gonna keep on holding to your past and hope that you're gonna be successful in the future. That's one thing that you know, all have to realize is you can't win a race carrying dead weight. You got to always free yourself of all those things in order for you to keep doing and winning in life. So, I mean, that's one of the things I just had to learn for myself. I got to heal and to move on and be successful, and especially if I know that I want a family. I want to have a successful career, and I want to do stuff for people and everything else. But I can't keep holding stuff. I can't keep holding stuff in, carrying dead weight, and want that all that successful stuff and not deal with my own problems.
For sure. For sure.
I got something for y'all. So, and this may be 1,000% wrong, but I'm gonna say it.
We're gonna start it off big fire.
Yeah. So look,
1,000% wrong.
it might be. It might be. You know, I've always been the type of person where, like, you know, let me approach this conversation, letting people know, you know, hey, don't take what I say too serious, or don't take what I say too funny or whatever have you. I always try to give like a little buffer before I start. So it may be 1,000% wrong, but I do think that Black men, we want a hell of a story behind us, right? You know what I'm saying? Just like we was talking about a little while ago, you know, we go to your lunch table, yo, let me tell you what happened to me the other day, yo. You know, like that's how sometimes those lunch table conversations start. Or when you get on the phone with your brother, you know, hey man, let me tell you what happened. You know, it starts off like that a lot. Now, I'm gonna refer back to this guy. You guys may know him, Mark Lamont Hill. Very articulate guy. He was on CNN. He practices and follows the preachings of Malcolm X. A lot of people. He goes and gets the information himself. He's made a lot of trips overseas to try to make reportings on the oppression of Black people around the world, not just in America. So he was on the Breakfast Club talking about how he grew up in Philly. He was on the Breakfast Club talking about when he went to school, how he was homeless. Now, what he says though is, I mean, I could have packed my stuff and went back home and not been homeless. You know, it was probably a little pride in him that made him not go back home or whatever. And I think about from time to time, like sometimes the hard, excuse my language, sometimes the hard stuff that I go through, I probably ain't have to go through it. You know what I'm saying? But what's going to happen though, when I come up out of that hard situation, now I got a story. Man, yo, it was this one time, you know what I'm saying? I ain't had no money. I ain't know how I was going to be able to pay rent. But dog, I got the money together and I made it happen. You know, I probably could have called my mom to get this money for rent, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? And she would not have had any problem giving me the money. So as a Black man, I think even though I went through this tough situation, it was a little more tougher than what it needed to be, just because at the end of the situation, like I'm able to go to my, yo, this one time, man, I ain't had no money, but I made it happen anyway. Now I got that story behind me. I made it seem like, you know what I'm saying, I'm just that much better of a Black man because I kind of did that to myself and I made it out. You know what I mean? So I think that happens to us from time to time. I think sometimes we put ourselves through a situation, it's a little tougher than what it needs to be, just so, you know, not necessarily just so, but I definitely will tell the story that way. Yo, I had it rough because X, Y, and Z. And, you know, now I have a better story to tell. You know what I mean? I mean, now, some y'all might not have ever done that before. Y'all might not have ever gone through a situation and, dang, yo, I probably could have just, you know, called my mom and got a couple extra bones. So I probably could have, you know, hit up Pops and been straight, you know. But I think we do that sometimes. I think we make stuff a little bit tougher just so we can have a better story to tell.
Absolutely. Before I go in, because Marcus, we had this conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely had this conversation. Before I go in, does anybody have anything else to say about mental health in the Black community, or to piggyback what Marcus said just now?
I want to piggyback on what he just said, man. It's like, you know, you talk about Black men and their stories and the things that we put ourselves through for the story itself. Now, I put it like this: when you're from a certain area, when you're going through certain extremes and everything like that, you don't necessarily flaunt that. You know what I mean? That's not something that you're proud of. You're not proud. A lot of times when it's authentic, you're not proud of the things that you had to do to make ends meet or the things you had to do to put food on the table and all that different type of stuff. But I think oftentimes, like you said, like a lot of times, you know, we do that for the story, for the status, for how we will be viewed by other people. And I think that does need to change as well. But that's, yeah, but I think my main point from that is, you know, you can tell if it's authentic or not, because when you do certain things, when it's coming from a place of desperation, then it comes off differently, and you do what you have to do in order to get out of that situation or not have to get back into that situation and all that different stuff. But when it's not, man, you start hearing those stories. Oh man, I did this. You'll never know some of the stuff I did because I won't tell you because it's not good. I mean, it's not, some of those things they hit a soft spot for me. So it's not, you know, you might hear it because I'm past it, but I'm not putting it out there for some type of glory or something like that. You know what I mean? So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people try to hold that as a badge of honor, and I'm like,
Exactly.
and it's not even about that. I just quickly just retrenching the, like, people, like some people be saying, man, I'm so hood. I'm not. No, you got 2 degrees, bro. You're a whole different status right now. You're a whole different statistic. I understand, you know, we still got, you know, habits and everything else, but you ain't gotta state that you educated right now. You got something that the hood don't. You got a degree now. You know, you're not where you used to be, but tell me where you going. You know, you ain't gotta keep holding on to all that stuff that you used to do and everything else. And just like Dion said, some people just don't want to relive that, so they don't tell you. And a lot of it is, you know, it's just what does that do? It does nothing. You know, it just tell you like, yeah, I was like this. I mean, that would probably be the best story. I was like this, but now I'm like this. You know, that should always follow up with a but. You know, if you can't do a but, then I mean, what are you really accomplishing?
You know, women always competing, but men compete as well. You know what I'm saying? We compete more. You know what I'm saying? We compete. You know, I was able to do this with nobody's help, but just like y'all said, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know, man. You got to detox in some way. I just don't really have no advice for how you can do it. All I know is if you got to figure out who you are and you got to stand on that. If not, you're going to crumble. But it's like, as far as like mental health, I don't know, man. Therapy works for some people. Some people, I really don't have that's why I was pretty much quiet the whole time, because I was trying to learn. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, who you talk to? I mean, I talk to God, but I was basically just trying to learn from y'all, like pull away some gems, man. Because bro, it's bred in us that when you go asking for help, you're gonna automatically feel like you're weak.
You weak.
Just
Exactly.
Asking for help.
Exactly.
And that's technically that's an insecurity because you don't know how that person's viewing you. You know what I'm saying? But you feel weak when that person may be looking at you, not looking at you that way. So it's just it's a touchy subject, man.
I don't trust that. If I start dating somebody and they not looking at me weak,
That's because you would look at somebody weak probably for venting to you. That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? You gonna look like, yo, why your man's crying all the time? That's how we naturally. You see what I'm saying?
You right? Nah, you right.
Because I'm the same way. I'm like, yo, man.
Yeah.
He be crying.
This guy over here, like, you complaining for? Like, man, it's gonna be okay. I get you.
Exactly.
I get you.
You be
100%.
Right.
That's just the concept of venting as a brother. I think that's
it's super hard.
It's a lot of different ways you can vent though. It's a lot of different ways you can get that energy out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
tell me,
my old lady, bro, she write a lot of emotions, and then a lot of times that shit comes out as poetry. You know what I'm saying? She writes that shit out. where that's one way to vent. You know what I'm saying? Like I know myself, you know, I didn't really have too many people up here where I stay at. You know what I'm saying? But you know, the way I vent, the way I get away and all the different stuff, I might take a day trip and I might drive somewhere, bro, just to kind of clear my mind and reset and come back to reality later on where I got a different kind of mindset. So it's a lot of different ways you can do it. You ain't necessarily got to talk to nobody. My man's, he rap, man. My man's, the way he gets his shit out, the way he get his emotions out and the shit that he can't really tell nobody, he put that shit in the song, man. You know what I'm saying? Because that way, I mean, you might be feeling something, but you never know. Like you do your motivational things, right? I mean, you might put something out in the song that you felt that you ain't really, you just wanted to get this out, but somebody else might hear your music and they might, you know what I'm saying, they might feel that on a different level, might have them, you know, on a different type of mindset. So you ain't really just got to talk to people or because I feel you 100%. Like I don't want to feel weak. I don't want to come to you on this week and then have you looking at me some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I don't want that. You know what I mean? But I know that works for me though. So, but if you need help, you got to humble yourself, bro.
Right. People got to be. Man, it's just like I said,
you got to. That's that ego shit.
It's the way we
that's pride, man. You gotta drop that pride, dude. That goes for everybody. That's pride. When you don't want to seem vulnerable in front of people, that means you choose the people that you want to be vulnerable a little bit carefully. You know, and I get it. You know, a lot of people don't trust a lot of people to talk to and everything else, but you gotta have that outlet, regardless. Just like Dion said, if there's something different, you know, if you want the world to hear your problem, just go ahead and make a song or something about it, or you know, write poetry and everything. You know, I used to be the same way of saying, you know, when you see me, you gotta see a strong Zay. I'm nowhere near, you know, like such and such and such, but that was just hurting me. That was killing me in the inside trying to be like that. But then when I start being vulnerable to somebody, whether it's your mom, your dad, anyone, you know, when I started being vulnerable, I was able to build myself a little bit more, and as far as grow emotion, like mature on an emotional level, you know. Because you can't. I cannot see anybody saying that I'm gonna hold this in and I'm gonna be okay. I just don't see how you can build or grow from that. Because if you never let it go, how can somebody not give you advice on how to deal with it?
All right, so boom, question for you. So with what you and Dion talking about, I think. So it does need to start where we like kind of training up our people to get out of that, right? And I want to say that, you know, and I'm assuming I don't got no stats to back this, but I want to say a majority of the black men, we feel this way, right? You're venting, you know what I'm saying? I can't do it with nobody. I'm a seem weak, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? So like basically what I would like to ask is how can we start to train up our youngins, or, you know, pass on the lesson to, you know, go ahead and be humble and get that venting session started when, you know, us ourselves, me personally, I'm gonna go ahead and say me personally, because, you know, whenever I do have a child, you know what I'm saying, and if he's a little boy, you know what I'm saying, I definitely do want that to be a thing for him. I want him to be able to get it out, be all right or whatnot. I don't think I'm gonna be able to teach him that though. So how can we get the majority of brothers who have that problem up out of that, so that we can start fostering that within our youth whenever they do come across? Because, you know, it's one thing to acknowledge it, right? You know, we can sit here and talk, yo, the world is going to hell, but how we gonna keep it from going to hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, so what is the starting point to getting our youth to, you know, kind of getting up out of that pride? Or not even teach it to them, you know what I'm saying? Because we got to get it within ourselves first. Where's our starting point with that?
You got to build that relationship. If you build that relationship, let's just say if I had a son, if I build that relationship with him, that he can come to me for anything, you know, and when he shares those emotions or anything have you, I don't say man up. I say, okay, tell me what's the problem? Okay, we have figured out the problem. I don't think you shouldn't have did it like this. I think you should handle it like this. If we start doing those things, and we will be able to help that part, help our house get in order, you know. And then who knows, that can be like a domino effect. Your son could take that and then teach the next person in his class the same thing. Like, maybe you should talk to your dad about it, you know, blah, blah, blah. Then they tell another friend, hey, I talked to my dad about it and I felt a whole lot better after I talked to them about it. And this is the advice he gave me. That's how we pass down, like, generational knowledge at that point, because we got to be able to just pass down a whole lot of stuff and be able to just sit up and get our house in order. Because all problems start in the house. And
you see how that came full circle?
Yeah, but but you just have to be able to just have that open. Be open. Don't be that dad that's just closed-minded and everything. Be like, oh, dad, I feel like shooting myself. Grow up, son. Don't do that. Man up, son.
So let me make sure I ask the question, because I don't know. So, and all that was good. You know what I'm saying? That definitely needs to happen. What I want to know is, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna use Dominique, me and Dominique right now. So how am I going to get Dominique out of, because he grown already, you know what I'm saying? Dominique grown, you know what I'm saying? He in his way, I'm in my way. How am I going to get Dominique out of not wanting to open up? You know what I'm saying? How am I going to get my brother? So what I want to do is I want to get this generation of men right now up out of that, so that when they have their kids, we can go ahead and handle it. So how can I get Neek, or how can I get Smooth, or how can I get Mike to get up out of that right now? Because I'm stuck in my way right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm hard-headed than a mother right now.
Well, I tell you what, bro.
It's real tough for you to get me up out of wanting to vent and open up, so that you make it so that my son can have that conversation with me. Because of course, once you get me up out of doing it, then I'm gonna be able to do it with my son. But how you gonna get me up out of it?
I tell you what, I feel like at this age, the only thing I can do is let you know that I'm here for you. Let you know that if you need to talk, I can be. But it has to be a certain type of responsibility that you take on your own life to get to the next level of where you want to be, in order for you to take that action to do that. Now, like for the youth, I think like what Zay was saying, like, you know, mentorship, sit around the table, and I feel like a lot of young kids, they see us in this age, and they can kind of identify with us because we're still pretty much in that age bracket, and they kind of look at us like the big homie or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I've been through this. I've been through this, so you might be that much more susceptible to listening to what I have to say. But right now, at this age bracket, it's like you can't teach a man how to be a man. You know what I'm saying? I can't show you, man, you need to do this, because you're going to get defensive. You start probably going to get closed-minded, because you can't tell somebody. You know, I've noticed that when you start telling people how to live their life, or start telling people outside of what they believe, and they get closed-minded, and that starts an argument, or that starts some type of discourse. So the only thing I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, only thing I can let you know is that I'm here for you. So if you need to talk about certain things, you know what I'm saying, and share my experiences and be vulnerable with you. You know what I'm saying? If I'm that comfortable in myself, if I'm vulnerable with you, then you can kind of see that. But it takes your effort. It takes you to have to actually want to make that change and make that step. And then from there, we can kind of grow. And from there, I can open you up to the things that I've done to get to this point. You know? I mean, I'm open to other options as well. I mean, I think that's something that need to be addressed too.
But and to piggyback off of that, Dion, is you got, like, for me, you got to create that non-judgment zone. Like we're all men. We go through problems. We go through women problems. We go through job problems. Any type of problem we go through. When you amongst men that are not trying to judge, but we are all about sharpening each other. That's the main goal in the group, is just sharpening each other, making each other better. And you create that non-judgment zone, then you're able to be vulnerable in those places. That don't mean to say, hey man, I saw him cry at the table the other night, so let me go over here and tell my homeboy, hey man, check this out. Oh, that's Zay? Oh man, he kind of emotional, man. You don't need to be talking about that to him. You know, that don't mean you don't change your views about me, because I'm still that Zay. I mean,
Marcus, you hearing that?
What you on, Don? What you got? What you got?
I
see you. Huh?
I just want to make sure you listen.
Yeah, no, I'm listening, bro.
Because I'm with you, man.
You just keep it in that circle, man. To be honest, that's how women do it. We go into brunch, let's get a mimosa, and we gonna talk it out. And what is at the table stays at the table.
I don't know, bro. Women gossip, bro. They that shit get out.
It floats. No, they don't float, man. Hey, they might be talking over that mimosa, but goddamn, tomorrow they go get another mimosa and they go talk about the same stuff. What happens? Another mimosa after that too.
That is a prime example of you got a leak in your group that you need to get rid of.
Bro, but
hey, time out. Dominique was about to make a point, right, fast.
It all goes back to the pride, right? So, all right, a few minutes ago, he was talking about it could have been easier. I could have done this, but I decided to do this for a story, right? And because you did that, that's how you will always assess other men. Mm-hmm. So when they come to vent with you with the problem, you're never gonna. I can relate to Marcus because you're never gonna be able to. You're gonna be looking at it like, bro, that was not even a reason for you to cry. So you can't genuinely. It creates a barrier, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm saying it the right way. It's just like, all right, say when you go through things and you come out on the other end, it gives you a sense of pride, bro. And it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard for you to, I guess, have sympathy for. You know what I mean? People that's kind of finding through the same process that you just went through. And that's why I think it's difficult for a lot of men to vent to each other because, number one, they know that you're going to be looking at them like that. Like, man, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying? How?
Okay. Okay, so boom. So and this is, so I know, I have, understand that I'm a supervisor, y'all. So when I talk to people, I have to ask crazy questions to get to my point, right? So I started this whole thing to try to get here. So boom, so resentment, right? So we have potentially discovered why we don't want to do this, right? Why we don't want to vent to somebody. Because I ain't never had nobody to vent for. I don't need nobody else coming to me venting about something, right? So boom, let me go to Neat right now and say, yo, Neat, I ain't talked to you in a little while, man. Hey, tell me something crazy that happened to you, right? Now Neat's telling me, oh yeah, shorty this, shorty that, blah, blah, blah. Oh, snap. Hey, yo, tell me more.
Those are the only problems I have.
Chill. It's an example, B. Come on, it's an example. I ain't airing this man business out on live on live right now.
I'm just messing with
you. So boom. So now I done got Neat to start telling me about, something that's bananas that done happened to him, right? And he's, like he gonna give me, not saying personally, Neat, but as a man, he just gonna give me some of the details, saying, oh yeah, shorty was tripping because of yada yada, this, that, and that. This how I handle it. Oh, that's crazy, bro. Hey, how did that make you feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we proactively, help this man get up out of his shell? Can I think train may be a bad word, but I'm gonna say train. Can I train Neat, just proactively to come up out of his shell and start telling me some stuff? You know what I mean? Can I get that up out of him? And then eventually that could probably make him used to doing it. Now that he's used to doing it, when Neat have his son, you know what I'm saying, he ain't got to worry about about this mentality that's keeping him from wanting to hear the vent sessions or venting to other people. Get what I mean?
But I mean, to me, I get what you're saying, but to me, giving information and venting, maybe I'm looking at venting as a negative thing. Like, bro, you can tell me what's going on, but that don't mean I'm about to give you my shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. Like, that's the point.
And maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's just my problem.
But check this out. So let me just say this, right? So I get you and Marcus are really like struggling with this. So let's just say if I came to, y'all know me, right? Well, y'all know me. So let's just say if I came to you, Dom, and I was like, man, I don't feel like this, I never felt this way before, blah, 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 and everything else. I need a shoulder to cry on. You tell me, man, nah, I ain't with that right now. And then look, check this out. And then you found out the next day, I'm there, I died. Bro, how would that make you feel?
That's tough. That would make me feel
hey,
real
look,
bad.
Man, this may sound cold-blooded.
They ain't got nothing to do with you.
Nah, I wasn't gonna say that. I mean, everybody ain't built to last, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, survival of the fittest.
but no, I mean, you know, I mean,
Social Darwinism at its
it's,
finest.
it's not. I'm able to recognize when there's a human in despair, bro. I'm not ice cold. I guess it's just the way that.
But it's all about growing, man. You know, we all got our problems, and we deal with certain things a different way. And you know, that's just all about growth. You know, that's all it is. You got to find a solution to go with it. And what's that solution is, I don't know. You got to find it out for yourself, and that's a part of growing up, man.
I'll tell you what. Let me tell you like this.
You're right.
Marcus, I know you was talking about, man, kind of proactively getting, you know, asking questions and to a certain extent probing. I know in certain areas, it's certain areas in my life that I'm not comfortable talking about. You know what I'm saying? So even with my old lady at this point, you know what I'm saying? I see, you know what I'm saying? I see, you know, my emotions or so how I react in certain situations when she start acting, but when we start having conversations, it's like, cause I'm not open to talking about certain things at this point. You know what I'm saying? So like you was asking Dom, you was like, yo, if I ask you these questions, just because you asking these questions, bro, that might end up pushing me away. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not prepared, because internally I'm not ready to release this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you might ask these questions. I mean, you honestly, you get different reactions from different people. Like somebody might respond to that well, bro. You know what I'm saying? But some people, especially black men, you know what I'm saying? The stronger black men, we gonna hold on to that stuff, man, until it has to be something internal to make me want to change, to say, okay, I've let this situation take hold of me too long. You know what I'm saying? I've let these feelings, these emotions, these things that I've gone through, they're stopping me. They're hindering my growth. You know what I'm saying? Until me personally, when I want to get to the next level, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I gotta get this shit out. When I talk about this shit, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? But
so, and I get that. I understand that. I understand that very well. It definitely has to be something within the person to want to move forward, to make that, for that growth to start. Now, personally, I think that, how should I say this? If we want the change to happen within our brothers, within our community, so accountability is important, but if we're going to want to make that change within the group, within the masses, like somebody's got to take that step for your brother. You know what I mean? Right. Like, because you mess around and so let's use me as an example. Let's say I'm closed-minded. I don't want nobody in my business, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. And no one ever helps me get up out of my stubbornness when it comes down to venting. And then I bear a child. And with this child I ain't bearing the child, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. When I have this child, I got to choose my words right. But I have a child. And because, you know, I stay stubborn and closed-minded and yada, yada, et cetera, I, you know, somehow or another bring those teachings onto this child, right? And this little mug, he grows up and now he's a serial killer. I don't know. Extreme example. Very extreme example. But so I've always had this mindset, you know, people talk about problems all the time, right? People hop on podcasts and talk about, yo, what's wrong with the black community? This, what's wrong with the black community? That, yo, what we need to do is this, and what we need to do is that, and then never implement what it is that we need to do. I think that if we can acknowledge and figure out what the problem is with our black community and opening up and, you know, saying, venting and with our mental health and all those other things, once we acknowledge what the issue is, we could potentially put together a plan to, you know, to attack it and then implement it. I don't want the answer to be, yo, it's gonna have to be up to. And real quick, before I go into this next part, this whole resentment thing and all the stuff we was talking about, I ain't trying to like dive into nobody's personal information. Like, this content is literally for the people. So if I don't want anybody to think that me and Nick are like low-key resentful or something like that. Like, just this is for the people. This is for the content of the air. But I don't want the answer to be, yo, it's got to be up to the individual. Because if you leave it up to the individual and the individual never does it, we're not fixing nothing. You know what I mean? So at some point in time, I feel, and this is what I feel, we got to go ahead and take that step and get your boy out of that comfort zone. help, you know what I'm saying? We got to help him get up out of that stubbornness, you know, get him humble so that when he or she has his child, you know what I'm saying, we've helped that child vicariously through forcing that person up out of their comfort zone and getting them ready for the world, getting them ready for that next step. You know what I'm saying? But Smooth, you right. Dion, you right. It's accountability. They gotta want it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want that to be the answer that we give. You know what I'm saying? Well, when you ready, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm all of us have been through something in our life, right?
Absolutely.
Me personally, perseverance, development, you know, bringing somebody out of their comfort zone. I love that shit, right? I love helping somebody get better by, you know, not necessarily forcing them, but, you know, making them think, you know what I'm saying? Putting it in a different perspective. So when I have a problem with, yo, it's got to be up to this man to grow on his own. He don't got to grow on his own. He's got his brother right here to help him. In my opinion, that's how I'm attacking. So I would like to say, yo, let's get past waiting on your mans to fix himself, and let's just go ahead and start trying to help him fix it.
Right,
You might hurt somebody in the process. You might burn a bridge or two, but for the people, for the masses, the consensus, we helping out Black people as a whole by doing so. That's what I would like to do.
Right. And let me add to what I said earlier about you have to it has to be a want to in that. Now I completely agree with everything you said. And I'm gonna add this quote that Marion, I think it's from Marion Williamson. She said, as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give others the permission to do the same, right? So as I'm not necessarily waiting on you to want to do better for yourself, it has to be something that you want to do. And we do have to take an action to get better. But I feel like through platforms like this, right, where I can't necessarily talk to everybody, but through platforms like this to where I might be able to be vulnerable and I still might be able to show my strength, but I still show the things that I've gone through and how strong I've gotten on the other side of that. That might enable somebody else to be able to do the same thing. That might enable, like what you do with the mentoring thing. Like, I think this is a great platform to where we can talk about certain things, talk about certain topics, be vulnerable in certain situations, and then allow, and sometimes maybe our viewers might be able to see, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I can be a little bit more vulnerable in it. So, there's an action to be had on both parties, and I agree with that. But I feel as though, using this platform to shine our light and be vulnerable in our spaces can allow somebody else to do the same thing. So it's more than one way to skin a cat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's.
Hey, Dion, I agree with both you and Marcus. I do believe that people choose to grow, and I also believe that, when you have the right people around you, they can be the catalyst for that growth. Marcus, I know exactly why you feel the way that you do. You've been through multiple processes in life. You're a fraternal brother. If I had to look up the word brother in the dictionary, your face would be right there. You about that life, so of course you're gonna come hell or high water. You're gonna get somebody to that finish line. You're gonna drag them to the finish line by choice or by force. But I can honestly say, I can drag y'all through both ends of the spectrum. So we had the conversation. Why do Black men not reach out for help? We had that conversation, and I gave you my story. I was vulnerable with you. I said, look, the reason why there were times in life I didn't reach out for help, because guess what? Once upon a time when I did reach out for help, somebody dangled it over my head. Somebody held that over me. And I hated that feeling. That feeling was so uncomfortable. I despised it so much, borderline to the point where I wanted to cut that person off. But in the same token, it's like, yo, that feeling is something I never want to experience again. So it's not necessarily me being prideful. It's I don't want that. The aftermath of if I reach out, or we fear the consequences of if I do vent. So what if this person takes all this information I just gave them and run with it the wrong way? Now that's playing worst case scenario and whatnot. Yeah. But I'll also say, man, each and every last one of y'all on this call has seen me in a vulnerable state. Like, I've probably cried in front of every last. Dominique, Nate, y'all saw me cry at the altar call. Marcus, you seen me cry in college. Freaking Dion and Zay, when I was stationed in Alabama, at some point, y'all seen me cry. So to answer your question, how do you get a grown man to shake that mentality of I can't reach out? I can't. Here's the thing. You have to show them it's no different than credit. You got to have a history of being there for that person to the point where they feel comfortable venting to you. When you have that track record of, I've lived with, they were my roommates. These are my frat brothers. I go to church with this dude. I have some kind of bond with this individual person, and they've yet to show me that they would do something like that to me. So this is a person I can confide in. You know, that would be the method I tell my kids. Is like, look, this is what it is. One, I don't want you to bottle your emotions up. If you had, and I think Zay alluded to this earlier, if you have any issues, if you have anything going on in your life, by all means, feel free to let me know. But I also have to, back to your favorite word, accountability, Marcus. I also have to hold myself accountable. Like, yo, I can't have a history of roasting this man every time he comes to me with a problem. Now, we may be able to joke about it after he gets over it, but in the
Yeah.
midst of chaos, I cannot make light of his situation at all. I have to have that credit, or I have to have that history, that rapport with him where he knows that I can trust Dad, because in times of need, he's been there every time. In times of need, y'all have been there for me every time I needed y'all. So one, I appreciate y'all for that. And two, I encourage everybody to find those people you can confide in, because this world ain't going to get any easier, you know. So if you don't have that right circle around you, whether it's your family, your friends, a therapist, whatever that means is, you just got to find that. That's the answer. That's the best answer I can give to the masses. And yeah, man, just once again, for the people that's watching this, yo, Dominique and Marcus, they're not these cold-hearted individuals. Like, if you come to them with an issue, they're going to give you the most sane, logical advice in the world. We all have some level of pride. Mine has dwindled down over the years, because I've learned that, all right, I've learned how to deal with it. But yeah, 25-year-old and back Mike, man, no, you won't know there's something wrong with me until I absolutely can't figure it out. Like, until it gets to a point where it's like, all right, if I don't figure this out within the next 30 seconds, all hell's gonna break loose. Yeah, you'll find out then. That was the old way of doing business, and I'm probably taking years off my life doing that. So I encourage everybody that's watching this, yo, get your core group, get your inner circle, get your therapist, get whoever, and take care of that. Because if you choose to ignore it, it's not gonna get any better. That's my spiel.
Gotcha.
Anybody got anything else to say as far as Black men and mental health and things like that?
Just because I haven't said anything yet, my input probably won't be nearly as long as anybody else's. But I mean, yeah, all I can really say is just getting stuff off of your chest is vital. So it's like getting stuff off of your chest, and then it being relative to like mental health is like everything, because like, I mean, it's already been said, keeping stuff bottled up, it just doesn't make sense. And I mean, like, it can be for the immediate sake to the long-term factor of things. So I'm like, as crazy as it sounds and as it's been over time, if you need to talk to yourself about things, because it's like, it's crazy that even talking to yourself out loud, you'll then be able to come to like an end result of some stuff. It's the thing. This is the part about, like, don't talk to yourself and then answer yourself. That's what makes you crazy. But talking out loud to yourself, and then the self-control. If you're a dude, if you don't feel like being vulnerable to another dude is you, to be able to find a woman. Self-control, though. So it's not like, me being vulnerable with this woman, and then it starts to take that path. If you're a woman, self-control. Find you a dude that is like, you can be vulnerable enough to talk to, and let your guard down around to be able to talk to them about stuff, and then I mean, like, Mike just said that in a group, it's kind of like that respect factor. It's like you have to be able to grow a certain level of respect through a relationship, of being able to know, like, hey, I feel cool enough, I feel okay enough to let my guard down around this person, and vice versa, so that I can get this stuff off my chest for the sake of, my mental health and my mentality being all right at the end of the day. And somebody said something about, like, it being pretty much like a carrot dangled over your head over time. It's like, as cool and as crazy as some people are out here, there are also the dependable enough people that are out here as well. I think somebody else said something about, like, pretty much being that example first off. So it's like being that person that, somebody can be the go-to, being that example, being that go-to person, so that at the end of the day, they might have their guard up, and it's like, kind of that persistency of the time. It's like, hey, man, you all right, man? You got something to talk about? No, you good? Okay, cool. And then the next time. So eventually he'd be like, hey man, look, man. It's like, okay, cool. But just listen. Be able to listen, not just have something else to say back to them, but be able to listen. And sometimes that's all people do need. And because they never had somebody there to listen, that's the problem. So that's it. Like I said, I won't go long with it enough. I'm just half of it.
I'm gonna jump on that. So that was cool. One thing I want to add on to that is and it sounds nuts to me. I just learned this, right? What I'm about to say, I just learned. I'm having a difficult time with it. So just listening. Person like myself, if someone brings a problem to me, I definitely want to like throw myself in there and try to help fix the problem, right? That's just how I'm built. Like my mind, you know, I don't want no problems to come to me and I'm not trying to fix it. If you bring a problem to me, I'm assuming that you want to get it fixed. But that is not how all of the world works, you know. And I'm just learning this, so like I said, I'm working with it. I'm having problems with it. Sometimes when someone brings a problem to you to vent, don't be so immediate that well, you should try it. Nah, don't do that. You should probably start off with, okay, I can listen to you, and once they get finished, you know, telling you what's going on or whatever. And you have to figure out how to, like I said, I'm having a problem with this myself, but you have to figure out how to kind of figure out what they want, you know. Okay, so you didn't told me what's going on, right? You didn't told me about this issue that you're having. What do you want from me? You know what I'm saying? Do you want me to like, and you can't say it like that because that's crazy rude. What do you want from me? That makes it sound like, why the fuck are you telling me this? You know, so you gotta figure out how to insert, you know, oh snap, that's crazy. Would you like some help with this or something like that? I don't know. And basically what that does is that gives them the opportunity to say, nah, I just need somebody to talk to, or yeah, nah, tell me what to do. So, and it sucks for me because like I said, I mean, and Mike, you know, if you come to me with some wildness, okay, boom. So this is what we about to do. Let's draw up a plan right now to get it corrected. You know, I'm ready to get it fixed. I'm not trying to see my people hurting for whatever reason, blah blah blah, et cetera. But everybody don't want that. So, you know, Nate, you know, that was spot on. You know what I'm saying? When if you go up to somebody, you all right, you know what I'm saying, they don't want to speak, you do that a number of times, and finally they do pipe up, they start speaking. Cool, you got them to speak. Now you got to figure out if they really want your input on what to do, or if they just needed a session. That's key. You mess around and try to fix everybody's problems all the time, you're gonna lose them wanting to come back to vent to you. You know what I'm saying? Man, every time I go to Marcus, I was trying to fix something. You know what I'm saying? Dang, I just want to talk. You know what I'm saying? And that's to me that sounds mad crazy, but that's how people are. That's how some people are. So you definitely got to figure out.
You know what's funny, man, and it might be a little bit off topic, man. What I've noticed, and it can even just be based off the arguments that I've been in, or just just conversing with people, or just listening to people, man. Oftentimes, people don't listen to you to listen. People are during the course of a conversation. You notice people are just waiting for you to stop talking so they can say what they have to say. Yeah. Instead of just sitting here listening to what you're saying. If I just sit here and listen to what you're saying, I can tell, I can possibly have an idea of what you want from me. If you just want to get some stuff off, or if you need some help or something like that, or if I just take the second to just kind of digest everything you're saying, I might be able to give you that much better advice. But I think nowadays, and this might be, like I said, a little bit off topic, man, a lot of people just listening and just not even listening, but a lot of people just hearing you just to wait for you to stop talking so they can get their point across, as opposed to listening to what you have to say or dissecting what it is that you actually need. You know what I mean? Because you might need something. You might be telling me everything I need to know and how I need to act without you even knowing it. But if I'm not listening, if I already got something, predetermined in my mind that I want to say before you get off what you got to say, it ain't gonna get done. It's a pointless conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think that's a lot of what goes on in our culture these days. Though. So you're right.
Yeah, they listen to rebuttal instead of listen for understanding.
Exactly. But I mean, one last thing, man. I keep talking about my old lady, bro. She made me do something real, and this is real interesting, man. So we played this game real quick, and it was a game where we would ask each other questions, and we would have to respond to them, right? So I think one question, to be a little bit transparent, one question was, I think, name 5 things that you like about me or that you love about me or something like that, right? So I got to thinking about shit immediately, right? My bad, excuse me. I got to thinking about stuff immediately. But what she made me do is she said, take a couple minutes. I had stuff I could say right then, right when she asked the question. I had so much stuff I could say, but she told me, listen, take some minutes, take a couple minutes. And by me taking that time period, by me taking those extra minutes, I was able to say other things, to be down a little bit more in depth, get a little bit more, like I said, in depth with those answers than I would have had I just rattled them off, right? So I think sometimes we just kind of need to take the time to understand what people are saying, what people are going through, and internalize that so we can understand how we need to react, or if we even need to take some type of reaction in the first place.
I got a question. How awkward was the few minutes that it took for you to kind of think about this? Like, how was the silence? And this is like, there ain't nothing.
Man, I said it wasn't awkward, bro. It wasn't awkward. I'm gonna tell you why it wasn't awkward, because I mean, she forced me to kind of just sit here and think, because I had, like I said, I already had the answer. I already had stuff I wanted to say, man, but kind of taking those few minutes, I literally just put myself in the mindset of, okay, just get a little bit. I was able to go a little bit more in depth with those answers and get that much. So it wasn't necessarily awkward, because I mean, it's obviously a question I wanted to answer in the first place. But if it was a question I didn't want to answer, be like, I don't really know what it, you know what I'm saying? It's a little, you feel me?
I got you.
But check this out.
That's like,
look how effective that was, though, because she is really teaching you to think before you speak.
Exactly.
And I had to learn that myself, and a woman taught me that as well.
I don't like how you just put that right there, though, man. How she taught me how to think before I had to speak. She didn't teach me nothing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? She just merely suggested something.
You did say.
She just suggested something. She suggested that I do something. I took that suggestion, brother. You're right. I mean, you're right. I mean, we learn from women a lot. I understand what you're saying.
No, but for real talk, one thing about growing, man, you always have to be a student to the game.
Right. Understood. Mm-hmm.
But I literally had to learn that from a woman to think before you speak, because like say for instance, like I saw one of my classmates in church, and she had her baby with her. And I was like, and the baby had like a rash on her face. So I said, I was like, oh, that's a cute baby. What's wrong with its face?
Oh my gosh. Oh, kick him out the classroom. Oh, kick him out the classroom. Oh, kick him out the classroom.
But in my mind is it was just good intentions. In my mind, it was just good intentions, but I had no idea that the way I said it could have been taken like completely
Oh yeah, you did.
True.
The girl know me, but I was literally like, I didn't know the baby gender or anything, so I was like, what's wrong with his face? And that what made me like, I don't know, but.
Oh yeah, you did.
Again,
you learn from it, bro.
Like,
you learn from it, yeah.
She said, no, that's not how you should say that. If you don't know the baby's gender, you call it, what's wrong with the baby face? You know what I'm saying? Like that. You know what I mean? She taught me that. Now when I approach a baby now, if I don't know the gender, I'm gonna say, oh, okay, that's a cute baby. What's the baby name?
Yeah, there you go. That was funny.
It's amazing. It's amazing how a couple of words just change the whole dynamic of that.
That's what I'm saying. Like women teach us. Some women teach us patience, man.
I love my black women.
Man, look, hey, Black Women Appreciation Podcast right here, man.
Love my black women.
BWA.
Learned a lot, but I'm learning a lot from you guys too. So we all eating at the buffet right now,
bro. That's what it's all about, man. This knowledge is endless, man. It's all you can eat, man. I'm glad everybody's able to feast. I ain't mean for that to rhyme though, but y'all look out for my mixtape dropping next year, man. It's going down. I'm just clowning.
Smooth, man. Y'all probably don't even know, but y'all were doing unbeknownst to yourselves, like a premarital relationship counseling type exercise with that, man. Like they do stuff like that, and they make you think, so that you're not just like sitting there like, oh, because I like her because of this and because of that. It's like, oh, I like him because, like, No, like to get you to really think so that you don't happen to make a mistake of getting together and staying together and then stuff started to go south or whatever. But yeah, man, nothing on mental health, but just still appreciative of the invite, of course, as always, all that good stuff, you know.
Hey, bro, you've been down with us since day one, man. We're glad to have you. We appreciate your support and everything you've done for us. We appreciate you taking the call, man. So yeah, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Oh,
Well, man, like you said, man, going on about 2.5 hours, man. I done went to go get food and came back, and y'all still on. So I mean, you know, that's commitment right there, man.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be hell on the editing, but I love every second of it, man. Like this knowledge definitely needs to be shared, and I appreciate every last one of you for taking the call, man. You know, it's all about the viewers, man. At the end of the day, it's all about the progression of the people that actually make the choice to click on these videos and indulge in these conversations. So, yeah, man, I greatly appreciate y'all for that. Our hearts and minds set. All right, so closing remarks, man. We'll kick things up. Where's Dominique at? Dominique, where you at, man? Gone.
Oh, no, he there. You don't see him?
I don't see him.
You peeped that freeze though, right?
Yeah, well, it did freeze a little bit.
I didn't. I just held still, man. I'm nice.
Yeah,
Man.
I was about to say.
Oh, get out of here, son.
Yo, this man over here doing the mannequin challenge in the midst of this greatness.
Start the trend of going to your brothers and venting. Get it off your chest. And if you choose to ignore something, it won't get better. People continue to tune in and check out the Brothers Unified for Freedom, evolving together.